I'm here with Dr. Carol Wall-Scheffler, who is going to be speaking to delegates at the Faraday Institute summer course this year. And I wonder if you could just maybe summarize what you're going to be presenting this morning.
Absolutely. I will be presenting data on the human paleontological and archaeological record from about 150,000 years ago to about 30,000 years ago, and setting up the differences in what is happening paleontologically and archaeologically in Europe with Neanderthals versus what is happening in Africa with the emergence of our own species, Homo sapiens.
Okay. And what kind of questions do you expect people to be asking you?
Well, at the Faraday, there are usually two types of questions. There are usually questions that have to do with not exactly the reliability of the evidence, but just how much more evidence there is, the interpretation of some of the evidence, particularly the archaeological evidence pertaining to ornamentation and ritualistic behavior that pops up by about 35 to 40,000 years ago, particularly in the anatomically modern human record. And so I definitely expect to hear just basic, I've never heard anything about human evolution before, what can you tell me about it and what do these data mean? So that sort of group of questions. And then there is the group of questions that is, what does this mean to you? And how do you interpret this in light of religious or spiritual feelings? And what do you think it means for our relationship with a personal God like we have today, that people 35,000 years ago were creating sculptures of Venus-like figures? So those are sort of the two types of questions I tend to get here.
And how would you answer the latter?
Well, let's see. That is a really good question. I should have known. I think that the important aspect of being able to respond to the call of a personal God is that you are willing and able to imagine a series of evidences that you believe to be true but don't necessarily have tangible, physical, touchable evidence in. I think that there are many evidences that people use for thinking about something outside of their own personal experience with the physical, and I think that the Venus figurines, as well as some of the other statues from that time period, are really remarkable evidences of people showing imagination and concern for something more than their physical food, water, well-being. And I think that initiating a relationship with God, answering the call that God gives to people to be in relationship with God, I think that you have to have this sort of series of creativity, ideas, and interest in thinking about something outside of yourself. I don't think that you can be in a relationship without those sorts of creativity ideas, essentially.